Good.
We don't just meander for exercise as far as movement goes. We do so deliberately. What are some of the reasons we might move or practice purposeful movement while we're presenting to a group?
Could be to change the focus of the topic of conversation to segue to a new subject.
Absolutely. Change focus, make a new point, segue. Okay, we're breaking with what we said before, and now we're moving to a new topic. Excellent. Anything else?
If you want to engage with a member of the audience on a more one-on-one level, you may gravitate towards them as you're talking to them.
Exactly. Good. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, Meg.
Well, also, like, when you're in a room like this, it may be hard for some people in the back of the room to participate, so it's a good thing to move around so you make sure that everybody has a personalized experience.
Everyone feels engaged.
Right.
And that's the balance that we strike. And that's why we move with the purpose that we do. If we do too much of that, our participants are going to get a sore neck and eye strain as they play follow the leader with their eyes as I move around the room. But at the same time, as you accurately point out, we do need to establish that communication with individuals. As the illustration shows, and as the little animation displayed, the first thing we do is to look at where we're going. It sounds basic, it sounds simple, but look where you're going, and then move in an arc to the place that you want to be, and then set both feet firmly down where you're at, to then begin your topic, to converse with the person, or to begin again. Believe me, as somebody who's gotten carried away while in a discussion, who's pivoted in front of a class and nearly fallen over because he lost his balance, it's a lot easier to do than you might think. So, any more movement than that, as I say, you're going to risk losing folks as they try to keep up with you. So as in most things, a little movement goes a long way. How about gestures and facial animation? The reasoning behind that and the importance is to create a sense of self-awareness that what my face is saying is what I mean. My expressions are purposeful. You may have been in a presentation where what somebody says and how they're saying it and their facial expression don't match. Oh, I'm so glad to have you all here with me today. It really makes my day. There's nothing wrong with the words,
Right.
but the facial expression has nothing to do with it. It's reinforcing. I really need you to pay attention to this point, Steve. Okay?
Yes.
That facial expression matches my message. And lastly, clarifying. Clarifying is important both for me and for you. As I'm standing here, I'm looking at your facial expressions to make sure that you're getting it. And if I have a quizzical expression on someone's face, I know I need to go back over something or to ask a question to clarify and make sure that everyone's tracking right. So, just like movement, when you're gesturing, you're also expressing purpose or emotion. An open-palmed gesture with an earnest expression and perhaps leaning in a little bit to a participant shares with them, let's say, a topic or a point like, you know, Nate, this is the most important point of our entire session. The combination of the gesturing, the facial expression, as well as the voice and the message lend credibility to, hopefully, to what I've just said. We can also use body language to reinforce the importance of a topic or help explain something that might be a bit more complicated. Think of, as you express to people, step 1, step 2, step 3. If you can do that with a bit of gesturing as well, it helps people compartmentalize it. Okay, folks, it's time for practice. You've been sitting down long enough, so if you would all please stand up. It's time to put into play at least one of the techniques that we've been discussing. I promised that I'd help you and demonstrate what I mean by proper posture, and let's go about doing that. For proper posture as a speaker, as a presenter, you're looking to place your feet pointed in the same direction, unless you have some real severe plantar fasciitis like I do, to place them firmly about shoulders width apart. Okay? Your shoulders come next. You want to make sure, and try not to do it in front of too many people, but before you start, that you have your shoulders back, all right? Your arms at your sides, and in terms of your gaze and your chin, raise your head just a little bit. Not a lot. You're not looking to be haughty, but just a little bit, okay? When you're doing that, you are now at your best self. This is you at your best. You're able to take that deep or diaphragmatic breath. Let's try that in through the nose and out through the mouth slowly. Now, I know, it's not the most flattering, folks, because you have to stretch your stomach to do that, to get the diaphragm to move. But trust me, much better to do that than to be making a point or an explanation and having not taken enough breath so you run out of breath while you're trying to finish your sentence, okay? All right, great. Thank you for participating. We'll go ahead, if time permits, and practice movement, gestures, and facial expressions as well.
Can we practice making facial expressions?
If you'd like to make facial expressions appropriate to the content to each other, that is just fine. All right, one more technique, eye contact or eye communication. So what do we mean by that? We use eye contact for one-to-one communication with someone. In order to be appropriate and not overplay it, it's been suggested that eye contact should be maintained for a period of 3 to 6 seconds. About enough time to complete a sentence or a thought before you move on to someone else and do the same. As a presenter and communicator, your looking at people and establishing eye contact should be random. The last thing we want to do is to make it appear that we're mechanical in delivering the eye contact, moving from person to person to person, zzz, like a typewriter, right? And going back through it again. And while we do it randomly, we want to make sure that we include everyone, so no one feels left out of the message, to the point that Meg made a little bit earlier about including people closer to the back of the room. Okay, this is our last practice, as it were, and you might find this exercise a little bit more challenging, but the effort and practice is worth it. So once again, would you please stand up?
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah, I know, that's the hardest thing about it, right? Okay. We're going to give eye contact for 5 continuous seconds. The objective is to get someone's hand, which will be raised at the beginning of the exercise, to come down. You will not lower your hand until that person has maintained eye contact for at least 5 seconds. Person's maintained eye contact with you for at least 5 seconds. In that amount of time, you can make up anything that you like, deliver a sentence, deliver a thought, begin a story, anything that will take that 5 seconds time. And if you need to have movement, remember what we said. Look first and then move. So everybody put one of the hands up. I'll go ahead and demonstrate it for you first. Okay? All right, there we go. So I'm going to attempt to make eye contact, and you'll be counting to yourself down